Hello, hello, hello. I am so excited to be a part of this wonderful discussion that we are about to have on fasting and self-care. Yes, we are talking about fasting and self-care today on Black Meditations with Dr. Caesar. This is the beautiful Rose Gold series that we are embarking on. And the Rose Gold series is focused on mothering self and healing practices during COVID-19. So we are very happy to be here today as we talk about ways of fasting, the importance of fasting, as well as an intergenerational dialogue on fasting, because we want you to know it doesn't matter how young you are or how old you are, you can fast. And today I will be in conversation with Miss Talibah Onyebuchi. And so if you can just say hi, Talibah.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Welcome.
Thank you so much. I would like to just give you all just a little bit information about Miss Talibah Onyebuchi. She and I met in 2020, July 2020, on a social media website called a healthy alternative. And so if you all are interested in doing anything concerning fasting, you're looking for support, I will definitely recommend you to look on a healthy alternative. They have a website, and they're also in the process of creating a wonderful app to help people who are interested in holistic living. Now, Ms. Talibah is a vegan health and wellness coach. In addition, she was a former court-appointed special advocate based in Georgia. She is a beautiful spirit and soul, and today she is going to share her journey on fasting. And so without further ado, I will just go ahead and just kind of start this discussion. Ms. Talibah, I just want to know if you can just give me what is your definition of self-care?
My definition of self-care is taking care of self first. You cannot be the best for your family, your friends, and others if you haven't taken good care of self. So for me, that is taking care of me first. And what does it mean to you?
Thank you so much for asking me that. I just really wanted to kind of emphasize this idea of taking care of you first. I feel like sometimes as Black women, it can be very challenging to do that. And so when we say we're going to take care of ourselves first, it's always like, oh my gosh, what about the family? What about the husband? What about the partner? What about the kids? And so for you to emphasize, like, yes, we have to take care of ourselves first, right? And so my definition definitely aligns very much so with yours. And I just wrote a little something. I said self-care is pouring love, kindness, and peace into yourself. To honor your sacred life, it is prioritizing the care of all areas of your life, emotionally, financially, physically, spiritually, and knowing that if you don't, you truly cannot take care of others effectively. Self-care is radical, it's an act of boundaries and self-mothering nurturance. So that's what I feel, when I think of different elements of self-care. So thank you so much for that. Did you want to say anything else concerning self-care?
Well, yeah, I think it's very important, especially for young mothers or mothers, period, to carve out some time for themselves. So a lot of times people say they don't have time for themselves. I know me personally, I don't have a young child. I do have a daughter, she's grown, but I make sure that I get up extra early in the morning. And when most people are asleep, I'm up as early as 3, definitely by 4 in the morning. And many times I'm headed out to bike or walk to make sure I get it in before anything else starts my day and gets in the way, so that I don't put me aside. So I think it's very important that you carve out time for yourself to make sure that you're well and taken care of.
Thank you so much. I totally agree. And again, that emphasis on like the first thing in the morning. This is exactly what I do as a mother, as a worker, as a person who is a part of community building, no matter what. I make an initiative, I prioritize my self-care. So thank you so much for that wonderful answer. So my next question is concerning your journey on fasting. I want to know when and why did you start fasting? And also, I know that I have some of your pictures. So whenever you want me to share those, just please let me know.
Okay. Well, what started me the first time on fasting, because there's been a couple of journeys, but and where I stopped, but I had gone on a trip to Rome, Italy, and I was quite tired a lot of the time while I was there, and we would do our touring and come home and take a nap and then get back up and continue. But when I got home, I realized I probably need to go see my doctor, and I did, and he told me that I was suffering from high blood pressure, which sort of surprised me. And he told me he wanted to put me on medication. And I was like, no, give me 2 weeks and let me see if I can get my blood pressure down and go from there. So I went home and I took 2 weeks off of work and I just stayed home and I fasted for those 2 weeks. And I meditated, I drank water, and I prayed. And when I went back in 2 weeks, when the nurse, when they do the triage of you, and I got on the scale, and I hadn't weighed myself before then. And when I got on the scale, she said, "This can't be right." And I said, "Well, what is it saying?" And she says, "Well, you're like 22 pounds lighter than when you were 2 weeks ago." And I said, "Well, it's right." And so when she was in the room with me taking my blood pressure, she said, "Well, how did you manage to lose 22 pounds in 2 weeks?" And I told her, "I fast." And so we talked about it, and she ended up following me to the next room that they put me in because she wanted to know. But I was just determined that I wasn't going to be put on medication because I had heard people talk about being on medications and you can't get off of them once they put you on them. So that was my first time fasting. But I do come from my grandmother. She was Seventh-day Adventist, and they do a lot of vegan, no meat, and what have you. So she was into fasting too. Whenever she was not feeling well, she would do fasting. So I was sort of familiar with it. But during that time that I took off, I found this book that my grandmother used to read and have, and it's called Back to Eden by Jethro Kloss, and I hope everyone can see it. It's an old book. Can you see it? And it just had a wealth of information about going to the meadow to get herbs and stuff to heal yourself. And it just made more sense to me than trusting a pharmaceutical company. So that was the beginning of my fast. And of course, I got better and I didn't have to go on the blood pressure medication, but I didn't address my diet, nor did I change my diet. So, of course, it came back in later years, and that's why you and I connected, because I had started on another journey of I want to get healthy. I want to lose the excess weight so that I can continue to travel and do the things that I want to do. With age, I was slowing up. My joints were stiff. I was suffering from inflammation. So I decided I've got to do something. So I decided to try being a vegan, and it worked. Doing cutting with being a vegan, you cut out so many things that you're only really eating vegetables and fruits. And it cuts out the milk, it cuts out the eggs, the cheese, the meat, the fish. So, and then I also realized during that time that I was dehydrated. That's another thing. A lot of time people don't know that when we think we're hungry, we're really dehydrated. So I started just nothing but water. I was drinking only water, and I cut my portion sizes and what have you. So that's what started me to fasting, was going vegan, and then more research and more reading. And then I came upon Chris's site, A Healthy Alternative, and just started seeing how many people had had so much success with fasting. Some were doing water fast, some were doing dry fast, some were doing intermittent fasting, and then some were doing one meal a day, which I do a lot of one meal a day, the next day fasting, and it seems to be working for me. How about you? How did you come to fasting? Tiffany, can you hear me? Tiffany, can you hear me? Oh, okay, I see behind.
Can you hear me now? Good. You know, I swear, I just always have audio issues. It's like, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? That would be the first song on my album.
Oh, okay.
Okay, like from these Zoom conversations. But anyway, thank you so much. Yes, again, we met on social media, you all. We met on A Healthy Alternative. It was July 2020. And I think I said I was going to do a fast, or she said she was going to do a fast, and we just like piggyback on each other. Let's do the fast together. And I did a 21-day fast with Miss Talibah, and I lost about 21 pounds. And it was really great to fast with someone. Now I had done, I've been fasting for about 10 years. And so it was nice to have the support of someone else fasting with me. And literally we would call each other once a week. We would post pictures. We would encourage each other. And that really was very like motivating in helping me go through that fast. It was the first time I literally fasted with a stranger who's now a friend, sister, mentor, right? And so I started fasting in 2011. I can say I seriously started fasting in 2011 when I was teaching in Cameroon as a teacher, teaching African-centered education at a school. And I had met this guy, and he was trying to basically convert me into Christianity, a very, what I would say, hardcore version of it. And so I would go to church with him every Sunday. And then it was like, okay, we're going to do this fast for the new year. And it was like a month fast, and we only ate like one meal a day. And I remember I was teaching and I was working and I was going to that church. And I just remember feeling extremely well after that. And I was so excited about the weight that I lost and how good I looked and felt. That relationship didn't last, but my fasting did.
Okay.
You know, my fasting did. And so that's exactly how I started fasting. Once I saw the results and I felt so much better, I started to incorporate it into my life. And now fasting is a lifestyle. It's a way of living. It's something I do periodically, probably maybe a couple of times a week to every other month, right? I just did a fast in January where it was like 18 days, 13 days. And fasting for me has been a holistic approach to healthcare, not just your physical healthcare, but also your mental wellness. It just really just frees you from just different things that you're going through. And I just really enjoy fasting. So, and so it was a one meal a day fast. So thank you so much for asking me that. I wanted to know about some of your fasts that you've tried in the past. What are some of the different type of fasts that you've tried in the past?
I've been really enjoying water fasting and can do it up to 30 days has been my longest that I've sustained it. I feel a lot better. My mental clarity is a lot better. My inflammation in my joints is no longer there. So just overall, it just feels so much better that sometimes I don't even really want to eat. And so when I do, I make sure it's something very light because my stomach just doesn't tolerate the old way of eating. I like what you said about it being a lifestyle because that's what it is. It's not a diet, it's a lifestyle, and your body does need a break. You know, we eat, we eat, we eat, and the body does need time. If you're going through health issues, it gives the body time to rejuvenate itself and heal itself. The body is a wonderful machine and it's capable of healing itself. I'm not a big one for doctors. I believe they have their place in society, but I believe a lot of our illnesses and afflictions are what we're putting into our mouth, processed food, stuff that's not good for us. I call it science projects. If you go in the store and read the ingredients, you might can read the first 4 or 5, but after that, that's a science project, and they're just processing stuff. It's all for profit to make it have a long shelf life. And so I just like the lifestyle now of eating, and I'm also eating things that I didn't think I liked. I had never even really given them a try. I don't like that, hadn't really even tried it. Now my taste buds are different. And with herbs and a lot of things, I've given up the salt right now. My biggest problem was I'm a sugar addict. And if you cook dinner and you show me the cake, we can put the rest of the stuff away and we could just eat cake, So the sugar is a big thing for me, but sugar is in everything. One day I went when I read the book and I went to the store and it said, take your time and just go through the store. Sugar is in salad dressing. Why does it need to be there? The other thing that blew my mind was, as a child, I'm 65. As a child, we had maple syrup. Nobody announced when Aunt Jemima's maple syrup was changed to fructose. And I was in the store. You can get a big thing of syrup for $2. You can get a little thing of maple syrup for $9. And it's a big difference. So there's been so many changes and stuff that there was no announcement. They just changed it on us. So you don't know what you're really ingesting. I also have stayed out of the restaurants. I rarely go anymore because I want to be in control of what I eat. And the only way I know what I'm getting is to prepare the foods myself. So there's a lot of information on the internet. You can almost just Google it. And many times when I don't feel like going to the store and I look at my refrigerator and I'm like, well, what do I have? I just tell Google what I have and tell them I want it vegan. And some recipes will pop up. So, that's my biggest thing. It's right now I'm on a 25-day challenge, which I'm gonna continue on. And it's no sugar, no honey, no maple, no pasta, no brown rice. You can have the forbidden black rice, no potatoes. You can have sweet potatoes, but it took so much off of the table. But what I did find out is I'm jumping up in the morning out of bed with no sluggishness. I had been spending more time during this pandemic in the bed than I would like to share, but I was spending a lot of time in the bed. This past week, we're going on day 20, I think. I've been up, about, and all day doing stuff. I've been more effective around the house, cleaning and decluttering and stuff. So I realized that sugar had me in a sugar fog, a mental fog that I wasn't even aware of. So it's those types of things that made me want to stay with the lifestyle. Plus, you can put the picture up of me when I was about 260 pounds. And then I've so far have lost about 60 some pounds, and my goal is to lose another 60. So that was like at 260. And then the next picture, I'm down, and that was like a size 22, sometimes 24, depending who the manufacturer of the clothing is. And then there's another picture of where I am now, size 16, some 14s, but my goal is to get all the way down. And it's a big difference. I also had a fall at work, a workman's comp injury. And I got physical therapy and all that, but I had to do the work on my own to try to rehab me. They wanted surgery. They just kept pushing surgery. And I'm of the opinion that with me being overweight, surgery is going under is not something to take lightly. And so I was scared to be put under, overweight like that. And I felt, you know what? I think I can heal this. I had a torn meniscus and I have a torn rotor cuff. The torn rotor cuff is still giving me problems, but I'm strengthening that through weight training. But for the torn meniscus, I started running, walking first, and then slow jogging. I joined a group called Fat Girls Running that has been heaven sent for me because they've gave invaluable information about running and how to do it. They talking about purchasing shoes. These are called hookahs. These were lifesavers. It's like running on a mattress. I could not run before because or walk fast because my knees were hurting. One was injured, and then the weight and the inflammation, I was hurting. So those types of things, I've taken control of my health. I'm not going to let anybody just give me pain pills and tell me, that's the way it's going to be, or they can do surgery on me. I felt I could strengthen them myself. And I'm back, I couldn't wear high heels. I'm back to not the high ones, but I don't have to wear the flat ones like I was. So I'm very appreciative of this new lifestyle. And I'm happy I took control of my health. How about you, Tiffany?
Well, thank you so much. First of all, Laverne on here said congratulations. So I want to make sure you hear that. Tamara wants to know if you can type the name of the shoes in the chat box.
Okay.
Or if you can send it to me, if you have problems, then I can type it.
Hoka, Hoka.
Hoka. Okay. Hookah.
And let me say something else. It's very important that you go to an athletic shoe store where they have salespeople that will work with you and find out what your need is, how your gait is, how you put your foot down, your gait, how you put your foot down and what have you. And when you go to these types of stores, these were like $150 or so, but they allow you to wear them for up to 30 days. If you don't like them, take them back. And they'll try to fit you and get you where you can get out and exercise. So those types of things were very important to me because before I got this, they're ugly. Now forget style. Sometimes you got to give up style. And these were men's because I have a wide foot. The women came in some other nice, cool color. But at that point, I just wanted to be able to walk without pain. So I can be an ambassador almost for them because this worked for me. And these are probably 3 years old. I sometimes get some pain, so that tells me I put a lot of miles on this. When I started out, I was lucky to just go around the park 1.5 miles walking. Then they shared with me there's a lot of different apps, and they told me about Zombie Run app, and you put the earphones in and it tells you, and it's fun. It was really fun, because they act like you're on a team and the zombies are coming after you, and you got to go and get a message to the fort and what have you. And so it tells you, run, and you're running, and it says, they're coming, and you speed up for a certain interval. So it really, really, really helped me rehab this bad knee. And so I was just grateful for that, to have these shoes. And I've made some major investments in workout clothes. And you can buy things inexpensively. You don't have to break your bank. Walmart has nice things. Ross has had excellent stuff. I was catching, $7.99, $60 normal running pants and what have you. And I just say you have to do it for yourself if you want to heal yourself and get better and get the weight off. And so now I can run up to 7 miles. Okay. And my goal is to be able to do a half marathon. And I wasn't able to do that before. Now I'm a swimmer. I love swimming. I would like to swim every day. I'm not currently doing it during the pandemic, but swimming is an overall exercise that gets everything, and it helps your lungs and your heart. So that running and walking, I took baby steps until I got better, and I just did it every day. I was consistent.
I totally agree. About that, and first of all, I just want to say, shout out, first of all, lady, she said she's 65 years old and she's been fasting, right? And I want to say that because sometimes people feel like, oh, I can't do it because I'm too old, or I can't do it because I'm too young. I can't do it because I'm too this, I'm too this, I'm too this, and it doesn't matter. Fasting is for everyone, whether you're joining a group, whether you are, doing it by yourself. But what was amazing about the fasting, when you were talking about fasting, was this idea that it took you 2 weeks to heal yourself. It was only like 2 weeks, within that time frame, you went to the doctor and they said one thing, they were about to give you medicine, and then you went back, you did your fasting, and then it was cured. So these things happen all the time. And that's why we both are a big fan of a healthy alternative, because when you join like these social groups, you can see, these particular people's stories. And so just to tell you, like, some of the things I do when I fast, I also, just like Miss Talibah, I do water fasting, but I'm also a big fan of tea fasting. And so the next fast that I'm going on is going to be a jasmine tea fast. And so I literally went to the the Asian grocery store in my neighborhood and got this is 100 bags for like $4, right? You can even go to the dollar store and get tea. And so if you don't want to do like the natural teas, you can go even holistic and go to the store and buy ginger, right? You can use spinach. You can use anything that you can pour hot water on, is my definition of tea. And one of the reasons I like tea fast versus like a water fast is because when you drink tea, you get some type of nutrients, and it allows you to, feel like you're eating something. It makes me feel like I'm cheating fasting, but when you drink tea, it never goes over the calories where you are gaining something or breaks a fast. So tea and water fast. Sometimes I do intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is where you decide you're not going to eat at a certain time. I don't really eat a lot in the morning, so I kind of like unconsciously do that. Sometimes I do 1 meal a day, but if I'm doing my long fast, I'll do tea fast or a water fast. So I'm also going to share pictures. When I came to New Iberia, Louisiana in April 2020, it was a rough year for me. I had ended a relationship. I had ended a really a challenging position. And so I had gained weight. My biggest was 230 pounds. So I'm just going to share that picture, with you. And again, I've been fasting for 10 years, but this is like one of my last like big fasts I did. And if you look at the picture, you see a lot of inflammation, you know. And what fasting does, it releases, you know, all that excess water and all that toxicity that's in your body. And so that fast, I lost 20 pounds, but I've been fasting for over 8 months since I've been in New Iberia. And this is like my next, this is kind of like where I'm at now. I'm fluctuating between like 190 and 200 pounds. So collectively, I've lost about 50 pounds, between 40 and 50 pounds. And I share this because I want to say that, like, okay, fasting is a journey, right? It's a journey. So you're not going to fast one time and it's all your ailments are going to be cured. You know, me sustaining that 30-pound weight loss, I've consistently been able to keep 30 pounds off, has been, you know, 8 months. I can say like for 8 months, I have consistently kept 30 pounds off. But within that, I was fasting, you see? So I'll do a day fast, I'll do a week fast, I'll do 3-day fast, you know, and it helps with weight management. But for me, it's also, like I said, it's a mental clarity that occurs. You know, I'm so much more clear when I fast. Like I work more effectively. And I just wanted to agree with Miss Talibah and say, like, when you fast, when you're in that like zone, you don't want to eat anymore. It's just like you feel so good. You feel so light. You really feel like that emphasis that happens when you release toxicity, you know, from your body, and everything starts to heal. Like I have leg problems sometimes, you know, and so I don't have the leg problems. I'll have knee issues. I don't feel knee problems. And I think that one of the things that Talibah mentions was all this stuff has something to do with some form of inflammation, right? That's caused by acid in your body. And so, and the food that you eat. So when you take that, when you stop and you let your body heal, it's amazing, you know, the type of things that it can do. So yeah, so thank you so much for saying that. But yeah, so that's my fasting journey. I've been fasting for 10 years, you know, and I fast periodically. I wanted to look at the comments.
One of the things,
Oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
No, you can go ahead.
One of the things I want to say is I'm coming to believe that I might have some kind of, I don't know if you would call it allergy but to flour and such, because I realize when I eat things, bread and stuff, I get bloated. And so, and sometimes constipated. So I'm starting to just say, you know, just leave it alone because it seems to cause so much problems. Another visual, and I broke it this morning, but this should be your friend. One of these and water. Many times I've been on a fast and thought I got a hunger pain, you know, and it makes you feel real bad, and drink some water. And then I realized 20 minutes later, you're not hungry. And so again, it comes back to many of us are walking around dehydrated. Coke, it's got liquid, but it's not the same as water. Water has a lot of benefits, and that inflammation is a lot of what ails many of us. So, you know, getting your health together, you know, that up and down, I plan not to do anymore. That roller coaster of losing it, gaining it, losing it, not going to do it anymore. So I expect before the end of this year to be at my goal weight, which I want to be 130 pounds. I'm currently 195. So from the 260 something to 195, I'll take that. But I want to go the rest of the journey so that I can ensure my health and maybe my longevity on this earth.
Thank you so much. And I love the fact that you emphasize water, and like water just does so much, you know, for the healing of our body, because our body is made of primarily, you know, water. And so if we can just drink like a gallon of water or drink more water, right, we'll see differences in our body. So I know that I just want to be kind of like conscious of time, but I do want to ask you one more question before we talked about the thing that we're going to launch for other women who might be interested in it, or people and men, anybody interested in it, is what advice would you give to people who are interested in starting fasting as a lifestyle?
You broke up. What advice would I give to people who what?
Who may be interested in starting fasting as a lifestyle?
Unless you're a very strong-willed person, I would say take it slow and maybe start with 1 meal a day, or even a window where you eat a certain time and then no more. So that's almost like 1 meal a day. And 1 meal a day doesn't mean you just sit and eat that 1 meal. You give yourself a window to eat your meal, but that's your 1 meal for the day. And you might eat from 12 to 3. Now you're not sitting up eating for 3 hours, but you can ingest food during that time period. And water fasting, I would say try it for a day. On the site that we met, a healthy alternative, people are doing all different types of things, juicing, they're doing water, some are doing dry. Now, one of the things I find with the dry fasting, if you have excess skin, you'll tighten up faster. I find it for me. So you have to sort of pick, but sometimes just trying to jump in, a lot of people jump in and say, well, I'm gonna do 30 days. It's more than a notion, and you need to have good information. And I'll give you a story of mine. When I started on the 30-day with Tiffany was doing, what were you doing, 21, I think? And I had said I was gonna go on and do 30. And at that time, I was still walking, some days running 5 miles a day. And I thought I was gonna keep that up. And it was hot. I live in Georgia, so it was in the like July, very hot. And I started down the street, and my neighbor sometimes sits on his porch. And so he was waving. So I sort of turned my body to say hello, and I stumbled. And he sort of looked. I know he thinks I drink, but he looked and he said, maybe it's too hot to run, today. And I said something and I kept on. But I realized, okay, you might not be able to keep this up. So the next day I'm coming from the kitchen getting some water, and I felt like I was going to pass out, and I was like holding on to the wall, running down the hallway so I could jump in my bed where I felt, I'd be safe if I passed out. At least I won't hit the floor. And I stayed in the bed probably 4 days, to make sure I got my strength back. But what I realized, and I was told on the site, on the alternative health site, Facebook site, that I needed some electrolyte. And so just adding sometimes sea salt makes the difference, because you're urinating a lot more if you're doing the water fast. And so you're depleting the salt and the electrolytes in your body. So it's not something to be taken lightly. You need to really know what you're doing. And sometimes reducing your food intake the days before you start it, so you don't just throw your body into shock and then you don't have success because you felt, you don't really know, and you feel yourself getting faint, or you feel yourself weak or whatever, but if you know what to do to combat these different things and the right things, because sometimes on this site, It's a Facebook, anybody can join. So sometimes there's some foolish information out there and you have to decipher what. But if you actually join, and what is it, Chris James is the gentleman's name that started the site, you can actually pay and join and get more intense and work with him and get more in depth with what fasting is about, what it can do for you. Also, skin. I was having some skin issues, and darkening. I was starting to look like a raccoon around my eyes because of all that sugar intake. And so with the water, flushing it out and changing some products and using back to that self-care, buying soaps just for me, not just regular stuff. And a lot of the stuff that we buy to put on our body, it's not just the stuff we put in us, the food. A lot of those are science projects too. When you can make a lot of your own products for your body and your skin. But since I've been drinking more water, different regimen on my face and what have you, I've seen a remarkable improvement in my skin. And I'm very happy because I was really, depressed about looking like a raccoon and trying to cover it up with, you don't want to have to wear makeup. Makeup's fine, but not to be your everyday face, and you don't want to go out and let anybody see you without it. So those are the things I would say is know what you're doing, take it slow. And one thing I always tell myself, you didn't gain this weight in a day, you're not going to lose it in a day. There's no magic pill, but consistency, you will see some difference if you can do some weight training. I've got a bedroom that I've got the kettlebells, I've got the big balls, I've got the little trampoline, I've got weights, and there's a lot of stuff online that allow you where people are doing it for free. And I worked out with a young lady today, and I'm sure I met her on the, what is it, a healthy alternative site. So I've met a lot of different people, and doesn't mean you have to be friends with them per se, but you can utilize what they're offering. And a lot of them have had so much success, they're starting businesses and they're doing it for free so that they can get the expertise and the feedback from the other people. So I'm scared to go to the gym right now. So I got rid of my gym membership and I'm doing it online with different people that are offering it for free. Yoga, she does yoga, and I want to get more flexible. And she worked us out real good today for like 45 minutes.
And so, yeah, I wanted to also just comment on that idea of like, being patient with yourself. If you're, especially like when you're new to fasting, it's a lifestyle. I say like, if you want to lose weight, fasting is not going to be your answer. It's going to help you, but if you don't change your diet, like Ms. Talibah said, if you don't, exercise, if you don't change your environment, because environment also plays a part of it, right? You're not going to lose weight, but you can use fasting as a catalyst, right, to aid you in your health journey, but it cannot be the only thing that you do. So my advice to people who are interested in fasting is just to be patient. I always think of Lisa Nichols saying, you can go to 1,000 and start over and try again. Just because you fail, you can always start over. I fasted by myself for a very long time. I've been fasting for 10 years. Miss Talibah was the first person like I kind of reached out to, on a healthy alternative. So I say that to say that if you want to do it by yourself, you can, right? You can do it by yourself. But it's also helpful, right, to have people to support you, if you need that support. And I'm a jumper. I kind of just jump into things. I would just say kind of like, listen to your body, listen to your heart, you know what works for you, you know what doesn't work for you. And again, as Ms. Talibah said, there are like various resources. Like she said, you can Google, you can talk to Google, you can join a healthy alternative, right? You can read different books, right, that are that are provided online or anywhere, right? If you type or say fasting or talk to a friend, you'll be surprised at like what some of your people close to you know. So that would be my advice. Now I know like we kind of went over time, but I do want to still provide people an opportunity to ask a question. So did anybody have anything that they wanted to ask concerning this discussion on self-care and fasting?
Tiffany Caesar, and my name is Desiree. I had a question that we were talking about different kinds of fast that we've done this week. You mentioned, I don't know if I misheard you, dry fasting. I'm not sure.
Dry fasting?
Dry fasting, yeah. Yes, ma'am.
That's where you don't ingest any water or anything. You're just not ingesting any food or anything. You're just breathing. Nothing. It's almost like a breatharian.
Okay.
Yeah. And one of the ways to take baby steps up to fasting for someone that can't just jump in. Now, there's been many people on that site, especially the men. I think they just lose weight because they say they want to lose weight. And I think they lose 5 pounds by just saying they're going to start. But they have had tremendous success. But baby steps can be eliminating fried food out of your diet for a week. Eliminating soda. Some people said they were up to 10 sodas a day. You know, whatever your addiction is. You know, I was on hot tamales. I don't know why, just sucking the cinnamon coating off, you know, and spitting out the thing. But it's that sugar high. And I start realizing, and I feel so much better. But just try baby steps, eliminating bread. You know, whatever your addiction is. Everybody is different, but take baby steps with yourself and try to walk every day, you know, more steps, you know, I had a Fitbit till it broke, and it was invaluable because it tracked your sleeping, your walking, your running, and, you know, it would just let you know where you were. I'm not a big one on doing group things or having to have a friend do it with me because I might not do it if I call you and say, Tiffany, you ready to go? Oh, girl, I can't go. I'm not feeling good, or I got to do something else. And, you know, I might go. So I'd rather go by myself, and I know what I need to do, and I'm doing it for me. If someone joins me, fine, but I don't depend on them because sometimes that will sabotage your journey.
Mm-hmm.
And let me say one other thing. As Tiffany said when she introduced me, I used to be a CASA, which is a court appointed special advocate for kids in foster care, to advocate for them. And basically what you do is do the work that the judges can't do. They can't go talk to the teachers. They just don't have time. They can't go talk to the neighbors and all of those other things. But in working with a lot of these young mothers, one time I went to a young lady who was I was an advocate for that child. And the child had mucus, green mucus. Hope I don't turn anybody's stomach, but was full of mucus and cold and congested. And I was like, you know, this baby needs some orange juice. And she said, oh, I've been giving her orange juice. And she went to the refrigerator and got a big jug, a gallon jug of orange drink. And I was like, sweetheart, that has absolutely no oranges in it. This says orange drink. You paid $3 for this. A big gallon of fresh squeezed orange juice would cost you a good $12 or so, you know? And so I also tell young mothers, get those babies off of cow's milk. When the baby starts mooing or has a tail that can swat flies, that's when they need milk. But otherwise, breast milk, nut milk, and that's what I use. I still have cocoa and different stuff like that. I make all kind of almond milk, Some, I've tried all, sunflower milk, oat milk, and they're delicious. Put a little vanilla extract in it. I'll put a cinnamon stick in there or just some cinnamon and sometimes some organic syrup, maple syrup. And better than anything you'll have at the store. Now it doesn't have the shelf life like the store. So I take it and break it up in bottles and put it in the freezer so I don't waste any. But that's what I have with my oatmeal and what have you, because our Black people are lactose intolerant for the most part, and a lot of people don't know it. So, if you know anybody, they can give them carrot juice mixed with apple juice. The kids love it. So it's those types of things that we need to do in our community of better addressing our health issues. I know many people get diagnosed with stuff and, though the doctor put me on medication and said I needed more exercise. And then I watch them, the only exercise they get is dropping off the prescription and they tell them come back in an hour and they exercise their way over across the street to Burger King. And too many people are depending on medication. And those medications just mask the condition. They're not reversing it. You can reverse disease. I was pre-diabetic and I know I wasn't giving myself a shot. So, I had no choice but to reverse it. And I did that through the vegan diet, because it reduced so much and the weight just started falling off. That was just a byproduct, the weight loss of a good, healthy diet. So I would challenge each and every one of you that are interested. It's not always weight loss for people. It can be inflammation. It can be reversing disease. Whatever your individual need is, you can reverse whatever is going on with you with diet, or at least get it under control. I'm not clear about what is it, type 2 diabetes, or is it, I get them confused, but some of it does have to be, I'm told, with medication. I'm not sure that that's the case, but you do what you got to do. But the first thing, the vast amount of the diseases in America is from our diet.
Yeah, and I totally agree, and this idea of reversing like illnesses. Laverne, just want to shout out, she said that she wants to reverse her blood pressure meds, and you can definitely do that, like fasting and holistic living, you can do that. My last guest, Miss Tamara Rushing, she, talked about, the different things that she was able to heal, through diet and holistic living. And so what we're saying, y'all, is that it is so possible, right? You don't have to always, take the medicine, right? You don't always have to go through these harsh, things that sometimes, traditional medicine will say that you have to go through. Maybe it is simply stop, sugar, or stop drinking, or, eating one meal a day, or changing from a all meat diet to one that is high in plants, right? And so when you do those different things, you are able to heal yourself or change into a positive direction or take less medicine. Now, before we go, it's almost 2:00, and I really would love to talk to Talibah more. And I think we have to have a part two, we have to have a part two. But due to people's time, I want to honor those people's time. I do want to say that we are, me and Talibah, we discussed this ideal of having a 7-day fast, that starts on Monday, February 8th. And we said that anybody who wants to participate in this 7-day fast, if you can just, you can leave a comment, or you can contact me or Miss Talibah, and we can talk about creating another group in which we support each other in a 7-day fast. Now, this 7-day fast does not have to be we're not going to tell you what to do. You have to decide for yourself what will work for you. Fasting is an independent process. Everything doesn't work for everybody. So if you know you like chicken and you're not going to not be able to eat it, then maybe it's like I will eat chicken one time, you know what I mean? Or if you know that you like strawberries, you know, and you need that in your life, maybe it's like I'll eat strawberries only in the morning. Or what I'm saying is the fast need to exemplify the life that you're living, right? So you think about the type of fast that you want. If you know you can eat one meal a day, what meal are you going to eat, right? If you're interested in doing a water fast, how much water are you going to drink? Are you going to buy your water in advance? If you're going to drink tea, I always say if you're going to drink tea, try to drink only one tea, right? Because tea for me is a medicine, so you just don't want to mix it, even if it's like green and black, right? Choose one tea. So you have today and tomorrow to think about what type of 7-day fast you want to do. It can be maybe you eat 3 meals a day. Now you want to eat 2. And we're calling it like a manifesting destiny fast. And I'm hoping that Ms. Talibah will be a part of more opportunities where we can share fasting opportunities with people who are interested. I know that Ms. Tamara Rushing, we have already been in discussion about creating more, networking and holistic health experience for the people, because honestly, everybody cannot afford to go to the doctor. Everybody cannot afford, these medicines that they want us to take. So what are some reasonable ways that are holistic that we can take care of ourselves? Fasting is one of them, right? Fasting. Tara also said she would love to learn more about your views on the spiritual benefits of fasting. So Ms. Talibah and Tamara, okay. I'm hollering at you. I know you're quiet.
I'd like to say one other thing. I'd like to caution you, anyone that is considering being a vegan, they have a lot of alternatives beyond meat or something. I'd say be cautious about that. Read those labels. There's a lot of anything that's on the shelf. If you should be shopping the perimeters of the supermarket. Everything in between is junk. Let's just be clear with us. It's the right-hand side that you usually find the produce, and that's where you need to be shopping, grazing, trying different things. You're going to have to come out of your comfort zone and try different things if you're serious about reversing diseases and what have you, because it is possible. And let me say one final thing that happened to me with the blood pressure. I knew I was working still with the city at that time, and they had a program where you could go and exercise at the hospital's gym, and you could, they would help you. I had a personal trainer and all of that. And when you went in, you had to prick your finger if you were diabetic or pre-diabetic and do that and do your blood pressure. So I was monitoring this, me and my personal trainer. So when I went to the doctor, I'm all excited, I got new numbers, da, 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 da. And when they took my blood pressure, she told me, oh, your doctor's gonna put you on high blood pressure medication. I said, why? And she said, well, it's up. And I said, well, then something's wrong with your machine, because I've been taking it every day for the last 2 weeks religiously. And so she said, well, let me try the old cuff, because they were using that new machine thing that just, they hit the button and it squeezes harder. I never experienced a lot of pain until they start using that. And so she said, well, let me use the cuff. And so she went back to the old manual cuff, and my blood pressure was normal. This is what she said to me that made me so mad. She said, yes, the machine thing sometimes gives a higher reading than what is really the case. Well, why are you still using them? Excuse me, I'm sort of raising my voice. I was so upset, because by the time I got in with the doctor, the first thing she said to me is, oh, I'm gonna have to put you on medication. I said, no, you're not. I said, we retook it and it's fine. And so she took it over. with the manual pump one. So I don't let them use the machine on me anymore. If you already know it has a false reading, you need to get rid of them. But I don't know how old anybody is on here, but I'm 65, and back in the day, the numbers were different. They changed those numbers, and now almost everybody has high blood pressure. So be wary, be wary of doctors. They're pushing pharmaceuticals because they are being paid to push that stuff. So when they're giving you those free samples, they're not free. They want to get you a prescription so that you will be a customer for life. So that's something to think about. Is you have to be an advocate for yourself. When I went to my doctor and they did the final blood test, all my stuff came, and I thought she was going to celebrate with me. She was more excited when they said I was pre-diabetic and that I had high blood pressure. And I was just sort of bummed out when I left there because I was like, nobody was excited for me. So I'll leave you with that. You have to advocate for yourself.
So again, thank you, Ms. Talibah. I just love it. This emphasis that we have to take care of ourselves. If she didn't say, let me use a different machine, they would have prescribed her medicine, right, that she didn't even need. So we have to be proactive in our healthcare. We can't just go to the doctor and then the doctor say, you got A, B, C, and D. You also want to do some research on yourself. Going to the doctor is a collaborative experience. It's not one just telling you what to do, you do it. You have to take some initiative in your healthcare. And that's what Ms. Talibah is saying. We have to do it. And fasting is one of the ways that we can do it. Again, we are going to be launching on Monday a Manifesting Destiny 7-day fast. You choose what you do. Okay. And I just want to say, Ms. Talibah, thank you so much. We have to do a part 2. I hope we can do a part 2. But like I said, in the interest of time, I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, your wisdom on fasting, healing, and self-care. So thank you so much.
Thank you for setting this up and for inviting me. I've really enjoyed it, and I'd like to invite anybody that would like to join my Facebook vegan site. I put a lot of visuals. I put a lot of vegan, vegetarian recipes and some meat recipes, because you can always just leave out the meat, right? So, and I would challenge each and everybody to buy books. This is a book by a brother. It's soul food, vegan soul food. So you don't have to miss out. It's not like you're gonna have to just eat lettuce. There's a lot of different things you can do. And I challenge you to try different lettuces, vegetables, herbs, and all of that in your journey.
I'm on mute. I'm always on mute. But yeah, we're going to share that on Black Meditations with Dr. Caesar. We're going to share all her information where you can contact her if she is available. She is ready to give you all information. Okay. She is wonderful, full of knowledge. Also, another shout out to A Healthy Alternative, right? For allowing me and Talibah to meet. Okay. And for us to, create another branch of opportunity where we can talk about fasting and holistic living. Again, thank you all so very much for being on this call. And we will keep you all in the loop on different opportunities concerning fasting, mothering yourself, loving yourself, and living well. See you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies.
Bye.
Thank you, Talibah. This is Laverne.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. And invite friends and tell them the next time we come, we hope to have more people.
I will. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Tiffany, also.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Bye-bye.